Guys, I'm in serious need of some help here. I feel like I'm going out of my mind. I have discovered a Mandela effect, and I don't even know if it's a Mandela effect. I don't know if anybody else is onto this. Doubtful, but hopefully. Maybe I'm the only one. But on a serious note, this is very, very confusing. I'm a big fan of the movie Wrong Turn. You guys know that. The 2003 one, not the remake. The 2003 Wrong Turn, one of my favorite movies ever. It always has been since I was a kid, since it first came out. I was around 10 years old when it came out. I loved that movie. I don't know what it was about the movie itself. I still, to this day, now and then I will watch it. Not as often as I used to, but I still do. But there was a time when I was, like, overly obsessed with it. And it, like, literally, like, I used to watch it every single day. And I know the ins and outs of Wrong Turn, okay? Not to brag or anything, but I am somewhat of an expert. I even know where the cabin was. And not many people, literally no one knows. There is only me, and I know that for a fact. There is people out there currently looking for it. You know, these people who do, like, movie location videos and stuff like that. I know where it is, and I know that other people are looking for it, so... But I'm not going to give away my secrets of how I found out. But it did take a lot of work, that's for sure. It took years. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. This video is about a Mandela effect, I guess. I'm remembering something that apparently doesn't exist. And it's like, I am so sure that it did exist. I'm positive I'm not going out of my mind. I even asked ChatGPT, and ChatGPT said it doesn't exist. ChatGPT knows everything. I'm actually so confused. So anyway, let me just get to the meat of it, okay? There was a scene in Wrong Turn, and it was a deleted scene. I've seen the deleted scenes multiple times. I know them inside out. There was one in particular that was, and it wasn't in like any behind the scenes footage or anything like that, not that I remember. It was an actual scene that just never made the cut. Kind of like the kiss under the waterfall scene. They cut that out, and I'm goddamn glad that they did, because that did not need to be there. They've been running for a couple of days in the woods. They're gonna be sweaty. They're covered in blood. They're gonna stink. There's no way they're gonna want to make out under a waterfall. As romantic as that sounds, let's be real here. That's not gonna happen in that situation. But that, again, that's not what this is about. It's not that scene. There was another scene, and I remember it, and it took place at the base of the watchtower, almost lighthouse, the watchtower. And it was right at that, like, you see it in the movie still. Like, in the actual movie, you see Chris walking with the stick because his leg's injured, and Carly and Jesse are there as well. And, like, Chris collapses on the ground, and Jesse says to him, "Are you okay?" And he says, "I just need to rest." And then she sits down beside him for, like, literally a couple of seconds before Carly says, "Guys, look." And that's when they notice the watchtower. They're right at the base of the watchtower. And then they make their way up the ladder. That's in the movie. That's still in the movie. But there was a deleted scene, and I'm certain of it. And basically what happened was, they get to that point where Chris collapses on the ground, and he's laying there, and he says to Jesse, "I just need to rest." And then they start to talk. She lays down beside him, and the camera is, like, looking down on them, I guess, like, from above. And he looks at his watch. This is the deleted scene. It's not in the movie. He looks at his watch, the Rolex that I bought a replica of recently. He looks at that, and he says something along the lines of, I don't know for sure, but I do remember what he said. It was something along the lines of, "It's 7 p.m. I was supposed to be meeting a guy named Mr. Keller today for this really big job interview or opportunity." I think he said something like, "I'm here in, like, the woods instead." It was like a big deal for him. It was going to be life-changing. And that's all I remember. He mentioned the interview with Dr. Keller, who he does also mention at the beginning of the movie when he calls the woman named Doris at the beginning of the film, when he's, like, driving through the woods, and he's like, "Hey, Doris, this is Chris Flynn. I have a 7 p.m. interview with Mr. Keller. I was wondering if you could," and then the call cuts out. I literally know the script. That's how big of a fan I am of this movie. And he's like, hello, no signal. He mentions him then, and then later on in the film, when it gets to that watchtower scene, it's 7 p.m. And that's when his appointment should be starting. And he's telling Jesse, he, like, looks at his watch and he says, "I should be at this interview right now, meeting a guy named Mr. Keller." And he actually says his name. That's all I remember of the scene, but I can literally visualize it in my head right now. And I do remember trying to find it again later on in time. This was a few years back, It wasn't even that long ago that I saw that scene, and I couldn't find it. It didn't exist. I remembered watching it on YouTube, but it doesn't exist anymore. I've asked ChatGPT, I've been on Google, I've done some research. I do remember seeing a thumbnail for it on what was like Russian VK or something like that, but all of the writing was in Russian, and when I went to click play on it, it wouldn't load or it wouldn't work or something, or it was like, you can't access this site. And again, this was years ago, but I remember seeing the thumbnail and trying to click it, and it just wouldn't let me go onto that website. It was like a Russian website, but even that's gone. I even tried to find that just to prove that I wasn't insane, and I can't find it. There is no record of this at all. Am I crazy? Does anybody else, like, I know Wrong Turn's really not that big of a movie anymore. People know it, but I don't think people really obsessed with it as much as I did, to the point where they go watching all the behind the scenes and deleted scenes and stuff like that. So probably not many people are gonna know, but I feel like I really need help. Even if you guys can like find it for me and send me the link, please try. I guess, like, I'm running out of options here. I don't really know what else to do. There is one thing I could do, which I guess I could look at the original script. I guess I could do that. It might be in the original script. Why didn't I think of that? But the scene itself was actually filmed. That's what I'm getting at. But, like, there's literally no record of it at all. I don't know. I just want to know if you guys are aware of this. Doubtful, but maybe. And also, I think the thing that I wanted to ask you guys is if you can help me try to find it. And I would really appreciate that. I just need to know that I'm not going crazy, because this has been baffling me for a few years now. I would say since about 2020. That's when I think it was 2020 when I saw that clip originally. Later on in time, it just like, I saw the thumbnail and it was like a Russian website or like Daily Motion or something like that. I can't remember. But it wouldn't work when I clicked on the actual video. And now it just doesn't exist. And it's never existed. I find that hard to believe. According to ChatGPT, it doesn't even exist. And I know ChatGPT doesn't know everything, but it's usually pretty accurate when it comes to things like that. And for it to have no records at all, like, it's crazy to me. Please let me know in the comment section if you guys can find it for me. Yeah, I would really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm going to try and get back into videos again. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, and I got my thinking cap on, and yeah. I'm ready to do this, I think. I actually am ready. It's just, like, hard to kind of get the motivation to actually do it, though. That's the hard part. Anyway, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, and remember to chase your